Welcome back, guys. We have another Armenian Business Ladies video this week. And we're going to continue our topic on startups. So my guest today is actually in the music industry, which is interesting. So we're going to get into that. When love comes in. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm Alice and you're watching on LeLifestyle. And this week we got Angela Darpinian with us, also known as Moshi, or what was it? What's your Insta handle?
It just says Moshi.
Wait, which one is the I am?
Moshi's I am. It's just my nickname with like I am in it. So it's Moshi's I am, like it's her I am shit. Like that's it was just a random thought and I'm like, let's just go with it even if it doesn't make sense. That's fine. Like that's it.
Interesting. So we're gonna talk about having a startup, trying to raise funds for a good cause, and trying to break through the music industry. Something personally I have a connection because my dad's a musician, but he hasn't been in production. So it's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna learn a lot from you, and I hope as a Gen Z, because you're proud to show it and mention that you're a Gen Zer. I'm there's this like concept where if you're older, you can't learn from the younger.
That's bullshit. That's
Just,
yeah. I don't know why people say that.
If you like mindset, you like money talks, and you like books, we're all about that. So click the like button and subscribe because we post videos every Wednesday. Awesome. We got our coffees, we got our teas, we got our water. All right, let's get into it. Angela John.
That's Alice John.
So, who is you? What do you do? Where are you from? All that good.
I'm just some 20-year-old trying to make it from the family as first gen. I'm from Menifee, California, so it's like in Riverside County. Not everybody knows where it is. And we just moved to Wildomar, so it's like a sister location. They're close by, but different names. Proud Armenian though, born and raised in the US. Yeah, just even though I'm in school learning business, I'm really into marketing, but I'm also into music, just creating, writing, a lot of writing actually. So yeah, just a lot of the creative side. I'm more on the creative side than the technical or like whatever doctor side that a lot of parents expect us to be. So that's me.
Which is totally normal and totally okay.
It's normal. Yeah, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a lawyer. Just do what makes you happy, that you're good at and that interests you. So it's your life.
Okay, so tell us why you're a proud Gen Z, because you mentioned in your bio on Instagram, you say Gen Z, nobody. You even mentioned that you're a nobody, which personally, I know when I first met you through Clubhouse, because that's where we met, you messaged me and you're like, so what kind of nobody like me can do to better my mindset or whatever? And I was like, girl, don't talk about yourself like that. But you're like, but it's like my brand.
Yeah, it's Gen Z is like, well, because I'm a 2000s kid. So like, what is there to not be proud of? Like Gen Z, we're the weirdest, we're the most awkward. A lot of people say we're the most depressed, which I think, well, I mean, depression is prevalent. There's a lot of people, a lot of young teens with anxiety and a lot of disorders. That's okay. That's nothing to be ashamed of and something that should be taken care of. But we're also quirky and really innovative. And we're also very aware, I'd say. So a lot of problems, we're very involved and we're culturally, socially aware. So that's why I'd say we're proud. And then, yeah, just nobody. That's something that I've carried personally ever since I was 12. Shockingly, at such a young age, and it's just something I carried personally because of like what I've heard in my surroundings. Like, I just feel like that, and it's okay. I want people to embrace themselves as nobodies. Like there's nothing wrong with that. We're just nobodies trying to be somebodies at some point in our lives. It's like it's okay. We're still a nobody, and like we can't. It's you're just trying so hard. Just be who you are and embrace who you are. So I'm learning to embrace that slowly, day by day.
Yeah, I think hearing your definition and how you approach the concept is like as if you were to reclaim the word where, everyone wants to be famous, everyone wants to be somebody, and you're like, well, I'm not, and I could be depressed about it, but I choose not to.
You got it. I think you're the first person to get it. You're the first one to get it because everybody's like, you're not a nobody, you're a somebody. I'm like, yeah, thank you, but that's really not how I define it. So, and I could give a shit like about being well known and being an influencer and like trying to get all the attention. I don't give a shit. And even if a lot of people give attention to me, there's a reason why. There's always a reason why. It's so rare, so hard for people to notice genuinely what's good about you. So just embrace it. Like look at it in a different way. It's not something to always be depressed and upset about. Stop comparing yourself with other people.
Compare it is
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of
Yeah.
people dreams. So let's get into something I think you're very proud of. It's your music.
Yeah.
Um, Even knowing you for a very short time now, still, I know, I like whatever you post on Instagram truly brings out your personality. And one time I messaged you and I said, you're such a weirdo. I love it. I really appreciate that authenticity that you put in when you're showing up on your reels or IGTV or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so what can you say about how you got into making music? You created a song for Artsakh, right? Was that your first song, your first
Yeah,
production?
well, not the very first one, but because I have another song now. But it's kind of bad, but every time I play it, people are like, "Oh, it sounds really good." I'm like, "Well, it was just experimental. It was just to have fun, I just met some guy from Germany and he's like, "Hey, can you write lyrics to this?" I'm like, "Okay." So we just did it, and um there's also a music video for it, which I think is hilarious. But Love Flip is a more serious take on it. It's more dark. I was really upset making it, and I'm more into like hip hop and conscious rap, anything that's lyrical, anything that's poetic. So I just wrote what was on my mind and just made it sense with Love Flip. So, and it's not just, it is mainly about Armenia, but it's also about all countries that are being silenced and oppressed at this moment. And there's a lot, even Native Indians, Ethiopians, Palestinians, anybody that's going through such hardship. That's what Love Flip is for. And I aim on making more music like that to bring more awareness.
Awesome. But you mentioned you're in business right now in marketing. So how did that happen?
Well, for independent artists, I think digital marketing or just marketing in general is really important. And I'm just going to school for my parents straight up. Like, first gen, they want their kid to get a bachelor's. And I'm just like, bro, yeah, you get it. It's just a fucking piece of paper. Like, give me a break. I've wasted like, what, 3 years now? And I, like back then as 17, 18, I'm like, oh my God, it's college, like it's gonna be fun and shit. And then like, no, I was
But it's
so,
really not fun.
it's not, I got so involved, and like, because I wasn't involved in high school, I'm like, okay, I'll have college take a second chance on me. So I go, and like, there were some fun moments, and then there were some moments where like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like that awakening thing, whatever the hell that is. So that hit me when I was 19. I got so upset and so furious, and I tried to make my parents understand how I was feeling. And now they kind of understand. They're like, kind of like, it takes time, you know, for them to understand, but they still have that college mindset in them. And I think it's just a parent thing that a lot of parents do. So I just chose business as my major. I didn't want to take a useless route. I'm like, let me just wing it. But I'm learning marketing online. So it's like, there's no difference. It's just self-education. I don't want to be scammed. I don't want to be lied to by other people. So I'll just teach myself. I've been there, I've been done that. So marketing has a lot to do with making music, because if you just make music and put it out there, no one's going to hear it. What's the point? You know, so you got to like figure out ways, be, you know, wise about it, try to improvise and do your best step by step.
So would you agree when I say artists are still entrepreneurs?
They are to a certain extent, and it depends. Like, not every artist can be an entrepreneur. I'll admit it. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of learning, especially when you're independent and you're not signed. You don't have a team and you're just doing everything by yourself. It's a lot, Alice. So you just got to do the best you can. But a lot of artists, majority of them are entrepreneurs. You know, they have their merch, they put songs out there, they're connecting, they're making a brand. You know, when you're making a brand, you're already an entrepreneur yourself.
So is that also the reason why you started your merch, or was that something totally different?
Yeah, I mean, Armenian, the store that I have now, that's initially I set that up. It's a fundraiser, so it's not something I'm making money off of. Like, that's totally honest. Like, I'm helping these people, as many as I can, and slowly it'll add up. I'll maybe help out more than 3 families, whatever. So Armenian is different. The I am merch though, that's like different from Armenian, but it's kind of, it has like the same similar message to it. That's gonna be different. Like, the merch is gonna look different, uh, whatever. So, but I'm not focused on that right now because
So how do you kind of go into that? Because whether it's a fundraiser or a business where you make profit, it's still a business in some way, shape, or form. So what was your strategy behind it? Did you have to make a business plan? You know, did you take those critical steps that any business owner would do, or was it like a in the moment type of thing?
for Armenian, right? Yeah, it was more
Yeah.
of like in the moment thing. Like, this is not an LLC yet or whatever. So I'm just fundraising the best I can. And most of what's being invested into this is like from my own money, because I have money saved up, and at the same time I'm dashing the best I can. Like, I do DoorDash on the side as a job, which is fun. You know, I like delivering, so that's cool. Like, why not? Um so most of it is like from my pocket, and like I'm fine with that. And just like reaching out to people, a lot of the marketing and stuff. And since most of the clothes is like made from Printful, because I use Printful as like a third party thing. So they like they do the prints on the clothes, the sweatshirts, hoodies, whatever. And I just post them on the site, and they ship them, they do the shipping, they do the fees and all that. So that's all it is. But I'm still learning. I do want to sign Armenian as an official LLC eventually, along with I am. So it's going to be a lot of research behind that, because nobody here is teaching me, so I gotta teach myself, you know. So.
I'll teach you. Did you have this entrepreneurial mindset prior to? Did you always think that, okay, later on, yeah, I know I'm not meant to go to college. University is not necessarily for me, but I'm doing it for my parents, because that's exactly what I did. I also went to business school. So for me, I knew when I was younger that I'm going to have a business one day, and I'm going to be my own millionaire. I'm going to be my own bank. And when I meet other people who are trying to either raise funds or, you know, find different ways to sustain their lifestyle, besides a 9 to 5 job. I'm like, well, did you have the same mindset as me? Did you also think you're going to have a business when you were younger? Like, what's been going on in your head is basically what I want to know.
Okay, well, when I was a kid, I never thought of, I mean, you're a kid, you know, like you don't think, oh, I'm gonna make money and like I'm gonna be owner and this and that. No. So, yeah. And then when I was a teenager and I was homeschooled for a bit, I never thought about starting a business because, you know, you're surrounded by people that just think that school is the only way, you know, and you think that's okay. You're like, you're brainwashed into that route. Like, okay, this is for me. I'm gonna go to school, be a doctor, and like it just doesn't. And then when I started college, or when I graduated high school, I didn't think about it. And then I started college, and I'm like happy go lucky, and like everything's gonna be awesome. You know, it's gonna be amazing, and like these classes and all that. It was just, it was nothing. Like it wasn't, maybe because I had too many expectations, that's my fault. Like you're not supposed to have a lot of expectations. And I was so naive and just kind of stupid. So and I didn't have a job. I didn't apply like anywhere. I didn't have an internship, I'd say. And just I was at college and like trying to be involved the best I can. So and then
So
around
then
19,
how did you get into, like, sorry to cut you off, but like how did that mindset come through where, oh, I can maybe make money through music. I can maybe make money through offering merch. Like, how did you get into that mindset?
I just had it after I just had enough of people's opinions. People telling me what to do. Go do this, go do that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you go to the healthcare? Why don't you? I just had enough. I just realized that, you know, this is my life. This is not anybody else's life. I choose what I want to do. And this is exactly what I want to do. I've always wanted to be in music. I've just been so insecure. I've just had so many self-doubts and told that I'm not good enough. I've been scammed. I've been lied to. Many promises made to me and it just never happened. So I'll do it myself and I will create this own path for myself, whether you guys like it or not. The marketing thing is totally different. That's something that, you know, I want to learn because it needs to be learned, you know. And every day is a business, I guess. So you just learn business like hands-on, talking with people, reading books. Like it's, college doesn't teach everything, you know, about it. So
Yeah, which
I,
is something that we've definitely talked about here. Like, there's so many skills that we've learned outside of school, and we're like, why wasn't this taught in school? It's such an important skill that should be taught to every single person. For example, finances, like personal finances. Is there something that you've learned outside of school that you're like, I wish I knew this earlier?
people skills or
People,
like
like
saving,
communication, or
yeah, saving money or like investments or starting a business or, you know, even in high school, I wasn't really aware of that. And I wasn't aware of the books that were available or the online resources. I was just under a rock, you know, because of, like I said, just that closed-minded mentality I had from my parents and the shit that we had to go through. So I just didn't have the courage until I was like 19. Like, you know what? I've had enough with this shit. I don't want to end up like my parents. I want to be financially aware, financially smart. I want to make money and I want to do what I love, what I'm meant to do, whether you guys like it or not. I'm tired of the constant back and forth judgments like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you go into that? It's like, stop judging and just accept me for who I am. You guys taught me how to sing. You guys took me to piano lessons. So why are you complaining? You know, like that's just what I want to do, you know?
you actually said some like key terms there where I was like, wow, okay, we need to get into that. You said I had a closed mindset because of your parents and how you're raised. So, and I'm assuming because you are aware of that time, then you are more open-minded now. So how did that switch happen? what did you have to read or learn to be like, oh man, I do have a closed mindset and I need to be more open-minded?
So this is cool. No one's ever asked me this. It was, I think it was a friend of ours from my dad's workplace. Such an amazing guy. And he apparently he's seen me as a kid, but I don't remember him. So we met up in San Diego. And I was 18 at the time, and we just talked and shit. We talked about Jackie Wilson and like music and his life and his backstory and my ambitions and all that. He suggested I read a book, the first book that anyone has ever recommended to me, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read, so I'm like, what about this book? Like, he made it seem special. Like, if you have problems with socializing and like how to connect with people individually, like, I suggest you read this book. I'm like, okay. So I bought it. And 3 months in, I'm like, oh my God, how come I didn't read this book in high school? Why don't they give us these kinds of books in high school? Or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or what was the other one? Uh,
Thinking rich.
yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Those books, just self-development books, all that shit. And then
Mhm.
um, going on the internet and just looking up like how to do this, how to do that, and like just I don't. It was so interesting. So just after that book, I guess it clicked. And then when I was 19, I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is not what I want to do. Like the school shit and the college life, whatever, this is just no. So I just read more books and like did a lot of internet research, and it's like, where have this has been like my whole life, like it might be hard to explain. I don't know if you understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually grew up in a household where my dad had a whole library of personal growth books, and he would be like, listen to this person, listen to that person, read this and read that. And I was like, but you're my dad, so I don't know if I don't know if you're right about it. And eventually when I did get into personal growth and self-development books, I was like, bro, you couldn't have explained or hyped up these books a little more so I could have started learning from them.
Yeah, Alice, what you just said, my dad, I remember I was what, 7 or 8? He gave me a fucking Warren Buffett book, not Intelligent Investor. It's that green book that has Warren Buffett as a cartoon character on the front. And it's a book for kids, like the Millionaires Club, whatever, Secret Millionaires Club. He gave me this book as a kid when there's like a CD to it. There's like a movie or whatever to it. And I watched the first few minutes of it and I got bored. My dad just threw the book at me and he's like, Isi Karta, like read this. It's good for you. Know how to make money. Like he didn't hype the shit. He didn't go in depth for an 8-year-old kid to understand more and be like, oh, I should read this. Like this is cool. He just, I mean, they didn't know any better and they were just like, Sobori wants this is Gir Karta. I'm like, well, yeah, but how is an 8-year-old kid gonna be hyped up about that,
Yeah, which honestly, like all the concepts, like you as a 20-year-old, you read, well, earlier, but you read How to Win Friends and Influence People. But do you know when that book was written? That book was written in the early 1900s. So if that concept was relevant then and it's relevant now, there's an issue in how we're raising the generations.
You got it. Yeah, I realized that at 19 too, like what the fuck are we doing? There was so much shit that I started to realize around that age. It's like, what the fuck? So, but that's why you'll know better. And then when you have kids, you'll know better.
When you're raising kids the same way that your parents are, then nothing changes.
It's the same cycle. That's why you got to break the cycle. You got to break that, what is that, the generation curse? You
Yeah.
gotta break that shit and just do what you gotta do. It's okay. You know, they did their best though. They did their best. They worked really hard. I give them credit for that and I appreciate that a lot. So it could have been worse, but hey, that's why you gotta make your own life and learn from the past, you know? Don't dwell on it, but just learn.
So let's move on from here and go towards like personally. My dad is a musician. He was in a band, or technically they still are, but they don't do any more gigs because of COVID and everything. But they've never produced. I think they've done 2-3 albums, but it was just for the band to sell like that. So they haven't officially produced any original songs. So can you like share with us how it is, what the process is of producing a song?
Oh my God, it just has to happen naturally and production takes a while. I'm not a pro at production. My brother, he produced Love Flip and then he sent me the beat and I just arranged the vocals. I just recorded the just whatever and I wrote the song. So for him, uh takes a lot of planning, I guess, or you just play around with it until you get something good out of it. And it can be done anywhere. It doesn't have to be done in a studio. You can do it in your room, bathroom, even in the basement, which is wherever, in the car. Just like produce wherever the hell you want, whatever you want, whenever you want. And with Arthur, it was my brother. I, I don't know when he produced the instrumental, but I heard it in his room sometime last year, and I'm like, this is really cool. It's like a Pantera kind of inspired uh, Kendrick Lamar in a way beat. So just send it to me, and I'll do something with it. He's like, okay. So he sent it, and I just worked from there. And I did some of the mixing. He did some of the mixing. It was just back and forth, like a team. So you don't need a lot of people in one room to produce a track unless you're doing something special. But it can just be yourself or with someone you know, a friend, even your dad, or just if you want to work on something, just do it with him or someone that knows production. So
But how do you actually like get into it? What are the first steps? Do you just be like, oh, I want to write a song, but I have no idea how to do it, or I've never written a song before? Or is it something that you've been working at, or just like a hobby you've had for a long time?
yeah, it takes a lot of learning. It's not just, well, it depends on what DAW you have. So like people use FL Studio or Ableton or Pro Tools, Logic Pro. We use FL Studio, FL Game. And we just, I don't know how Arthur started it because like I said, he's older than me. Like I was a kid, he was in his late teens, early 20s when he started. So I don't remember like how he's like started out. Maybe he just did a lot of learning, like YouTube tutorials, asking people around like how to produce and shit. Um, so when I saw that and I wanted to work on original songs and just play around with it, I started too. So that was like when I was 19, I started with FL Studio. Funny thing, I just remembered when I was 12, you know GarageBand? Okay, so I used to play around with GarageBand on our big Mac computer, and my brother would be in the other room and he would like work on something else, and I would just like play around just by myself, and I didn't even know how to do shit. I was just, I didn't look up tutorials. I wasn't so serious about it. I just played around. And I just took a bunch of like whatever GarageBand had, like those samples, and just dragged them into the mixer and just play this and play that. And I made one song that was called Nobody that time. And it was just like for fun. It was just something experimental, you know? And I remember I told my brother, like all hyped up, Arthur, I made something. And it kind of sounded like shit. I made it so cool. I play it and he's like, oh, Okay, not bad. Okay, cool. And that's it. He just left. But I don't remember what happened to that file. I think we lost it, but it was in that computer.
So let's kind of move into more mindset talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you love it. I love you, and that's also why we're here. What's one book that you would highly recommend your generation to read right now, like devour right away? And it could be like a saving grace to many.
All of them. Just read any fucking book there is that's like about what? Everyone's like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Thing and Grow. Not just those books, like just oh, there's so many. I have a list in my phone. Obviously, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that's a good one. That was my first one, and I still recommend that. There's also a sequel to it. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital World. So, it talks about like social media connecting, networking, and all of that. Creativity Incorporated. I don't know if it's about Pixar and like the whole. So it's by Amy Wallace and Edwin Catmull. Overcoming the unseen forces that stand in the way of true inspiration. So that's one I've had for a while and I'm halfway done with. That one it talks about the startup of Pixar and how they partnered with Disney and like the whole process behind it, the hard work and shit. That one is pretty cool. There's one book, Alice, I recommend everybody read, but I don't know if like everybody do it. It's an autobiography, Charlie Chaplin's autobiography.
No way. You would recommend Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah. And why it was
I'm also amazed that you know of Charlie Chaplin, but
I fucking love Charlie Chaplin, dude. Like ever since I watched The Kid, one of his films is my favorite one. I've just fallen in love with like his work and just him as an individual and a role model. So when I started taking reading more seriously around 16, not self-development books, but like just, reading to like enhance my English and my vocabulary because my speaking was awful and like I wasn't as smart as much. I chose that book, Charlie Chaplin's My Autobiography. And dad got it for me on Christmas. And it took me 2 years to finish that book because that's how big the book is. It's pretty thick. And the way he writes is so complex. It's like most of the time I had to look up what does this word mean? What does this word mean? Like he used his vocab and like he's genius. He's not from this planet. Like he's a fucking genius. So he talks about life and dreams, aspirations, family, all of that. And yeah, it's personal, it's his life, but you self-reflect. And I've learned so much from that book and like going to Hollywood, meeting this people, love, friends, the business, and like it's just all in one. So if you can read that, go ahead and read it. Like that, it's worth reading. It was worth the 2 years of reading because I'm a slow ass reader. So that was worth it. Worth the annotations and all that shit.
so there are so many things I wish I knew earlier on. And what better way for all the Gen Zs watching, because there are a few teenagers watching. They see me more as their scout leader, someone sometimes they look up to, sometimes they don't. So as a fellow Gen Z, what would you recommend or what kind of advice would you give them if you were a teenager now?
There's so much shit I would tell my 13-year-old self. I would slap her in the face and be like, stop that shit. Stop it. Like, but also I would wake her up and be like, yo, fuck what anybody says. Fuck the people that tell you that you're not good enough. Like, screw it all. Mind my French. It's just, you got to say it. Like, be upfront about it. Um, just do what you love, invest in yourself, stop chasing friends because not everybody gives a shit about you. Not everybody's going to be your friend. Um, don't give into judgments and opinions because they don't matter. Don't overthink it. Like, don't overthink, oh, why did she say this? Why did my mom say that? Why did it's your youth is so short. Stop dwelling on people's opinions and just do what you want to do, be who you want to be, and results will show. So that's that.
I was gonna add to that and say, like, just be as weird as you can be, and because later on you're just gonna laugh about it.
I'm laughing, yeah. Like I look back at like how I was and I'm still laughing, but I'm also cringing. Like
You need to have those memories to cringe about, because then if you don't, what
yeah.
did you learn?
You know, and I would also tell my 13-year-old self to be kind to yourself. It's okay if you're alone. Alone time is magnificent. You're not lonely, you're just alone. And keep learning, keep reading. Seriously, like, yeah, that's it.
Would you say, the whole the idea behind this conversation was that, you're trying to start something, you're technically in the startup stages, whether it's for your music or your brand, whatnot. And a lot of people will say, well, you're still young, you have a lot of time to figure out your life's purpose and whatnot. And I kind of disagree, because everyone finds it out what they're supposed to do in life at different ages. So would you say that with the work you've done, with the mindset work you've done, and other projects, can you say that you're more aligned with your purpose today, or are you still working towards it?
I'm still, I know my purpose, but I'm still like in the process of achieving it in a way. So
What's your purpose, if you don't mind sharing?
my purpose is first gen success story that creates whatever the hell she wants. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm sorry.
So let me rephrase it.
Okay.
Daughter of an immigrant family,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to change the course of her family's faith
Mm-hmm.
by creating and being a creative person, simply.
And being a voice for Armenians, an Armenian American voice in music for my people,
Mhm.
and for everyone who feels outcasted and feels silenced and ignored. You know, I want to bring them into the light, pave a way in the, I don't know. Yeah.
And we're not going to ask you how you're going to do it, because there are so many ways to go about it. And we're just going to sit back and watch how you grow and appreciate.
Yeah, more doing than saying, I guess.
Definitely. And anything in life, massive action is needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, to kind of wrap this up, what is the best advice you've ever been given and that you want everyone to know?
I've been given a lot of advices, Alice. I don't know. It's your life. Simple. Just it's your life. You know, it seems so vague, but just think about it. It's your life. It's your story. You're the one that's writing this. I'm not saying, oh, you're the main character, but like, just feel like it, you know? We're all main characters. We're all like, this is a play. We're on a ball of gas. We're just specks of dust. Okay. So why do we have to worry about all stupid shit? People that throw their insecurities on you, or the drama, or just the BS. Like, live your life to as much as you can and do what you gotta do. Don't waste your time. If you procrastinate, that's fine, bro. Like I procrastinate too sometimes, and I think it's out of fear. You know, we procrastinate out of fear and like not willing to put in the effort because we're afraid or we're lazy or we just don't have that motivation at the moment. That's normal. I vibe with that.
Thank you so much for everything. This conversation has been amazing, and I love speaking with people younger than me. You are 7 years younger than me, and you're on the same almost. I am wiser. No, like when it comes to mindset, I feel like we're on the same wavelength, and of course, you've had different experiences for me, which have led to the way you think you today. And I'm always grateful to meet people like you, the way you think, and to have conversations like this, because I don't want to say it gives you hope, but but it just like shows that I don't know how to say it. It just like warms my heart.
It's cool. Yeah, it gives you this insights and optimism. You know, instead of hope, we have optimism. Hope
Awesome.
is,
Yeah,
you gotta have optimism. You gotta manifest. So
exactly.
yeah, no, I get what you mean, and I love having convos just with anyone that I vibe with, even with kids, bro. And people be asking, why do you hang around with kids a lot, bro? Like you gotta. They're a lot of kids are smarter than us if you think about it. You look at it, even like this generation's like children, like toddlers and up until 12, like this, they're insanely smart and so full of wonder. You can learn so much from them. I love learning from older people. My tati, she's cool. Um, it doesn't matter. Just learn from anyone that is worth learning from. So
Definitely. But what I meant to say is meeting any at any age, meeting someone with an open mind like the one you have is almost a breath of fresh air, because I feel like they're the generation that's raising the next generation. Not everyone is lost. Okay, like not everyone is lost. Everyone is gonna find their purpose some way, shape, or form, or at the right timing. So if you're watching this and you're younger than us, you're younger than 20 years old, and you're wondering, what do I do with my life? Well, if you just follow what we've mentioned, reading a couple of books, watching a couple of movies with the intention of learning something, then you're gonna be ahead of your generation in a way where you're gonna be able to critically analyze every situation in a smarter way and make better decisions. And eventually you'll come to the realization, oh shit, this is what I have to do.
yeah, it
Right?
can happen at any moment though, and it really, like you said, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young. Like, just dude, there are 4-year-old kids that already know what they want to do, and it's a lot of influence. It doesn't just happen out of the blue. It's the influence, like who the kid is surrounded by, what's the inspiration, you know, like who's pushing the kid, who's pushing you, like making you pursue your passions or pursue your interests. So just be surrounded by people that are at a higher level, but they push you and, like, you know, push you to be better than how you
Yeah,
were a year ago. So
exactly.
yeah,
Angela, John, like we have to wrap this up.
but
Like we could, I know you and I can go on talking forever. It's as if we've known each other for a very long time for some reason.
we connected.
Yeah,
Yay! I love that.
I love this too. So thank you so much for joining me today and just having an awesome conversation. And I hope a lot of people got many golden nuggets. If you did, please let us know in the comments below your favorite takeaway. Also, can you mention quickly your handles, where we could reach you if they want to come check out your stuff?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Moshi Shom at IG. So it's like Moshi and then I Shom. I kind of screwed up the backwards. Like I tried to write Moshi backwards, but I think I kind of fudged it up. So that's that. I have a TikTok. It's shit right now. it's it's all right. It's Moshi Mochi, like the ice cream mochi. So will you just like write it down in the description?
Yeah, of course. We're gonna link it in the description. I know I'm like letting you struggle just for jokes.
Yeah, just anybody can just DM me too, and like I'll reach out to you. And like
Definitely. So thank you so much again. I appreciate you. Can't wait to follow your journey and see what amazing things you come up with. All right, guys. Have a good day. Bye. Earlier, when you went away to grab your drink, I saw the background, and I think everyone should see too. It's gorgeous. You're in the
saw it? Okay, let me show you.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Hold up. My computer is. This is Wildomar, by the way. So we're like on the mountains. Okay, let me go outside. Hold on. Let me go outside. And this is what it looks like.
Wow.
Yeah, we're on the mountain. So my parents got lucky and they got this house, and you can see the lake from all the way over here. That's insane.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's Lake Elsinore, so it's like all the way down there. And what's cool about this place is that the neighbors aren't so close to each other. They're kind of far apart. So it's cool. It's like, I guess, worth more than what you find in LA, you know?